This guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about land use.
The development plans.
Watch this. Play this.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes. State is just so poorly managed. It's so frustrating and confusing. And then he gets on TV and pretends like everything's great. And California's the best. We have the best state. We have the most amazing economy. And like, you're out of your mind, dude. You've ruined this state. Like, personally ruined. Gavin Newsom talks about California. He's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. California has all this industry. Hey, they're all thinking about moving. The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. If it was like every business could instantly pull up roots and replace everything and have everything running in a week at the other place, they'd all be gone.
So the California skies might be clearing up, but behind the scenes, the storm is just getting started. Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson aren't letting this one go quietly. They're fuming, and not just because of the weather. They're calling out Governor Gavin Newsom like never before, saying he completely dropped the ball and needs to face the music. And if you think this is just another political gripe, think again. These two came together on Rogan's podcast and unleashed hellfire. No filters, no holding back, just raw outrage, bold accusations, and questions that nobody else seems brave enough to ask. Oh, and real quick, if you're into bold takes and behind-the-scenes truths, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, back to the drama. When Mel Gibson, yes, that Mel Gibson starts tearing into a sitting governor, you know things are serious. And Rogan, he's not playing mediator. He's pouring gasoline on the fire. The two of them practically tag team Newsom on air, questioning his leadership, his motives, even his silence during the crisis. Was Newsom hiding when things got tough? Did he abandon the people of California when they needed him most? Because according to Rogan and Gibson, this wasn't just bad leadership, this was cowardice. And here's the wild part, the media barely touched it. Why isn't anyone else talking about this? Stay with me, it gets even messier.
State is just so poorly managed. It's so frustrating and confusing. And then he gets on TV and pretends like everything's great. And California's the best. We have the best state. We have the most amazing economy. And like, you're out of your mind, dude. You've ruined this state. Like, personally ruined.
Rogan didn't just call out Gavin Newsom, he obliterated him. He kicked things off by tearing into Newsom's entire legacy, accusing him of wasting every ounce of potential California had. According to Rogan, this state should be a paradise, a beacon for innovators, dreamers, and anyone chasing a better life. But what happened instead? People are fleeing, fast. And Rogan, he's one of them. He packed up and left in 2020 not because of the weather, not because of Hollywood, but because of what he called cancel culture madness. One wrong word, one unpopular opinion, and boom, your life's over. That's the California he saw and wanted no part of. But that was just the warm-up. He went even harder, saying Newsom inherited one of the most opportunity-rich economies in the world and tanked it. Rogan painted a brutal picture: rising crime, tents lining the sidewalks, businesses vanishing overnight, and taxes choking what's left of the middle class. And here's the kicker. Rogan says Newsom's not just failing, he's performing. It's all about appearances, speeches, headlines, grand gestures, while regular people suffer in the real world. Sound familiar? This isn't new territory for Rogan either. Remember during the pandemic? He was one of the loudest voices shredding Newsom for crushing small businesses with confusing, inconsistent mandates that felt more like PR stunts than actual leadership. So why does Rogan keep coming back to Newsom? Why does this strike such a nerve? Keep watching. The next part takes an even darker turn.
One who is alive today had ever experienced a true pandemic. And I'm hoping that now that this is over, people are going to, recognize that some serious errors were made and not repeat those. That's the best you can get out of it.
So what do you tell those people?
Vote Republican.
For Joe Rogan, the pandemic wasn't just a crisis, it was the final nail in the coffin. That's when he made his most controversial move yet, openly suggesting maybe, just maybe, it was time to back the Republican Party. And why? Because in his eyes, the Democrats fumbled so hard, it was almost unforgivable. Think about it. Endless lockdowns that strangled small businesses, entire communities crushed under rules that felt more about power than public health. And the worst part? It barely made a dent in stopping the virus. Rogan didn't hold back. He slammed the decision to shut down schools for months, calling it a theft of education, especially for the most vulnerable kids who needed structure and support the most. He pointed to the science on low transmission risks in children and then looked at the damage done, and you could hear the frustration in his voice. And those strict mask mandates, Rogan wasn't buying it. He called it what he believed it was: political theater. Not science, not safety, just optics. But it didn't stop there. He went after the entire progressive playbook, accusing the left of silencing dissent, ignoring hard data, and treating honest debate like a crime. In Rogan's world, Gavin Newsom didn't just make a few bad calls, he took a golden opportunity and turned it into a living nightmare. Businesses destroyed, families broken, freedoms erased. And Rogan's message was crystal clear. This wasn't about keeping people safe. It was about control, more rules, less reason, no common sense. And just when you thought he was done, Rogan turned up the heat again, blasting Newsom for fumbling during the chaos of California's wildfires too. This isn't just political anymore. For Rogan, it's personal. And then, in the middle of all this chaos, guess who shows up with a big smile on his face? Gavin Newsom.
This guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about land use.
The development plans.
Watch this. Play this.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes.
While Rogan and others were calling out crisis after crisis, from pandemic fallout to wildfire mismanagement, Newsom was busy chatting about land use in Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii, not California. Not the homeless camps lining LA, not the businesses still shuttered, not the skyrocketing crime or families struggling to stay afloat. Instead, he's proudly talking about legal teams and land speculators in another state. Now look, working across states isn't a bad thing, but the timing, the optics, it's hard to ignore. Rogan didn't even need to say much about this moment. That smile said everything. How can a governor be so calm, so cheerful, while his own state is still trying to catch its breath from disaster after disaster? It almost felt like a punchline to everything Rogan had warned about. Politicians more focused on positioning than people. Smiling for cameras while entire neighborhoods are still choking on smoke or counting their losses. And for critics like Rogan, it's not just frustrating, it's infuriating, because this isn't about politics anymore. It's about accountability.
Gavin Newsom talks about California. He's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. California has all this industry. Hey, they're all thinking about moving.
Thank God.
The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. If it was like every business could instantly pull up roots and replace everything and have everything running in a week at the other place, they'd all be gone.
And now it all makes sense why Joe Rogan is pushing Californians to consider voting Republican. Because at the end of the day, leadership isn't about perfectly lit press conferences or staged photo ops. It's about showing up when it matters. And when California was spiraling, Rogan saw a vacuum at the top. He remembers a different time, a different kind of leader, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Say what you want about him, but when things got messy, Arnold didn't hide. He faced it. No excuses, no spin, no political posturing. He rolled up his sleeves and tried to fix it. And Gavin Newsom? According to Rogan, he treated the crisis like a political chess match. While everyday Californians were watching their shops shut down and their lives fall apart, Newsom was out dining maskless at high-end restaurants. Yep, the same guy enforcing strict lockdowns on everyone else was sipping wine at luxury spots. And let's be real, it wasn't just tone deaf, it was insulting. Rogan says it plain. While people were begging for help, Newsom was chasing headlines, flirting with a presidential run, flashing a smile for the cameras while letting the chaos devour the people who actually live there. This isn't about party lines, it's not red versus blue. It's about courage, about truth, about having a spine when things fall apart. Californians don't need another slick politician in a designer suit. They need someone who's willing to stand in the fire, not pose in front of it. Someone who actually gives a damn. And to Joe Rogan, Gavin Newsom just doesn't. California may be sun-soaked on the outside, but inside, it's a crumbling mess, and Joe Rogan is done pretending otherwise. He's calling Gavin Newsom out by name, accusing him of turning the Golden State into a graveyard for small businesses, and not just hurting them, strangling them. How? Let's talk about Assembly Bill 5. Sounds boring, right? It wasn't. It reclassified freelancers and gig workers as employees, and that triggered skyrocketing labor costs, lawsuits, confusion, you name it. And then, that shiny $20 minimum wage, great headline, devastating reality, restaurants couldn't survive, layoffs followed, closures everywhere, and who was there to help? Not Newsom. According to Rogan, he just kept making things worse, topping it all off with an unemployment disaster so bad, fraud ran rampant, and small businesses got stuck footing the bill with massive payroll tax hikes. Can you imagine getting punished for a system failure you didn't cause? Rogan didn't just criticize, he warned. California's not a dream anymore, it's a warning. And he's not the only one sounding the alarm. Mel Gibson? Yeah, that Mel Gibson. He's had enough too. And he's not whispering about it, he went straight for the jugular. Vote Gavin Newsom out. This wasn't about politics, it was about chaos. Gibson's breaking point? When Newsom stood by while ICE protests spiraled into destruction. What started as peaceful turned lawless looting, smashed businesses, communities wrecked. And where was Newsom? Siding with ideology instead of responsibility. He didn't call in backup. He didn't protect lives or property. He froze. And according to Gibson, that wasn't just weak, it was negligent. People weren't begging for a crackdown. They wanted peace, safety, basic leadership. But instead of showing up, Newsom spent his time challenging border czar Tom Homan to arrest him. Seriously. Because apparently, a flashy arrest stunt is more important than addressing real reform, as if theatrics could erase the destruction. And then there's the photo ops, the dramatic speeches, the perfectly timed press clips. You know the type. Newsom posing as the tough guy after everything burned down. It's the kind of hypocrisy critics like Rogan and Gibson can't stand. They wanted real reform, legal, humane immigration solutions, security, and fairness. But that takes grit. And grit is exactly what Gavin Newsom is missing. And just when you think the criticism couldn't get sharper, enter Jon Voight. Voight didn't sugarcoat a single word. He said what many are thinking. If Newsom can't run one state, why should we trust him to run the entire country? It's almost laughable. California, a place with insane wealth, world-class talent, and limitless innovation, is drowning under his watch. Homelessness, exploding. Crime, skyrocketing. Businesses, fleeing to places like Texas and Florida as fast as they can. So let's get real. What has all that progress delivered? To critics like Rogan, Gibson, and Voight, just a bloated ego in Sacramento and a failed blueprint that America cannot afford to scale nationwide. Because if this is Gavin Newsom's idea of leadership, it's all style and no results. And if voters are finally waking up to that, you better believe Anna Talks is gonna cover every second of it. If you made it this far, you're the real MVP. Smash that like button, subscribe for more no fluff breakdowns, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I always read them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.